welcome to I-24 News World Cup show following all the events from Brazil, where we have one more rest day before the quarterfinal frenzy begins. With me here are football analyst Uriel Dascal and Itzan Peren. Hello, gentlemen.
Hi.
Who's hot and can only get hotter? Who's not and he's already home? All that and much more coming up. Let's get started. 4 giant games coming up in the next 2 days. It begins tomorrow with a huge European clash between France and Germany. So much history on and off the pitch between these two rivals. The winner of this game will meet in the semi-final with the winner of the South American clash between the host country and Colombia. Following day, Argentina will take on Belgium. The winner of this game will face the Netherlands or Costa Rica in the semis. And the big final is set for July 13th at the Maracana. Some big names are missing from this final 8 list. Former world champions like Spain, England, Italy, and Uruguay are long gone. Some came with big expectations, others not so much. One thing these 4 have in common, they're already home. Mirav Savir with a story.
Saying goodbye to your World Cup dreams is one of the toughest things to do, especially when the taste of the last one is still lingering on your tongue, as is the case with reigning champion Spain. The quarterfinals are set, and 4 of the greatest in the World Cup are already watching from their couches. Spain, England, Italy, and Uruguay have 8 championships between them, and in this World Cup, only one of them managed to make it out of the group stage, just to lose shortly after. Spain were the first and most surprising. They were humiliated in the group stage, losing their first match to the Netherlands in the shocking 5-1 beat-up. Then, when they had a chance to redeem themselves against Chile, the defending champs blanked, losing 2-0. Their only salvation was a 3-0 win against Australia before heading straight to the airport. But fans awaited their return to Madrid. They at least had their heads held high.
It's our squad, so we support them, especially Torres because he's the best. In the same way we show our support in the good times when they reach the top, we also have to be here in bad times so they know they have our support, because it has been hard, so we are here to support them.
England went next. There wasn't much hope for the 3 Lions to begin with, the British media overlooking them from the start, and it seemed the negativity surfaced on the pitch. They fought against Italy in their first match, a game where both sides came out swinging, but it wasn't enough, and the return of Luis Suarez in their next game spelled defeat for the English. The Costa Rica draw gave them their only point in Brazil, but manager Roy Hodgson has hope for the future.
I think there's a lot of work to be done, but I also think that we're on a good path. I can see a lot of possibilities for this team and these players to improve and become better, and I'm very pleased that I'm going to be the man leading them.
And the 2 teams responsible for sending them home weren't safe either. 2006 champions Italy's hopes came down to the final group stage match against Uruguay. All they needed was a draw, and they were looking good until the very end, when Uruguay's Diego Godin scored in the 81st minute, and the way the Italians played left a bad taste in the mouths of fans.
If you're Italian, it's normal that you're disillusioned by the national team. There wasn't a game they played that they didn't seem as though they were asleep on their feet.
Uruguay made it farthest out of the 4 teams, escaping the group of death with Costa Rica, but the Celestes' hopes bit the dust when Luis Suarez sank his teeth into Giorgio Chiellini in the game versus Italy. The striker's ban hindered the team's chances, who then lost to Colombia 2-0 on 2 gorgeous James Rodriguez goals. But the fans stood by Suarez and their national team regardless.
Viva Uruguay! We did the best we could, but unfortunately without Suarez, we've got nothing. Without Suarez, we are nothing. But we played well. We can go on with our heads held high. We beat Italy, we sent England home.
But the best part of watching the Powers go home? We may get to witness someone win the World Cup for the very first time.
Uriel, if we look at the most disappointing team, I would say it's Spain. The world champions go home very early, and it was very tempting for Del Bosque to use the same squad that brought so much glory. And it was also tempting to add Diego Costa, who would give up on a forward like this, but this combination didn't work.
Yeah, when we look at Spain, their great strength in the 3 tournaments they've won was cohesion. They had great teamwork developed through years of working together. Since the under-17s, they're playing the same, quite the same kind of players from all the ages. And Diego Costa, well, is a foreigner. to the system and also a Brazilian, and he couldn't really fit inside the Spain movement. And I think that was something that ruined the Spanish game. But I think looking to the future, they're going to be okay with Diego Costa. He's going to get used to the players.
The European under-21 champions.
Yeah, and they have great. I mean, they're not just that. I mean, I think they've won 17 cups in all ages since 2000. And
yeah, they've been unbeatable over the past decade.
They're amazing. The under 17, they're great. They are under 20s. They're great in the World Cup, and they're fine. They have great future, Isco and players just waiting to come in. You have a lot of the most valuable youngsters are Spanish, and they weren't in the team. So I think they're going to be really fine.
No, I think just bringing in Costa and playing him in the first 11 was quite a reach. Maybe even some kind of a hybris thing, because they have good strikers playing in other places. They have Llorente that they left home.
Good strikers that were part of this winning team.
They were part of the winning team, and they also won, we know, Euro 2012 without a real number 10. So they could play even without him. But bringing him in and putting him in the first 11 throughout the tournament was, I think, a mistake.
A bit of somewhat the same situation with Uruguay. Under 20, they reached the final last year, only lost in penalties. They could have brought fresh players, but they did stick to the same system that brought them success in the Copa America and the last World Cup. It didn't work this time.
Of course, it's very tempting for the coach to use the same players that brought him so much success, and I think that's the way the things go. It's kind of natural thing to go with these players until you lose, and then you implement.
I mean, Uruguay, they've done well. They've beaten
at least they
Italy and England.
They progressed to the second stage.
And they had the whole Suarez thing. I think the most optimistic out of the three could be England, because first of all,
they played better than the results.
Yes, and I think they have the most progress to make. They were.
It can't go lower.
It can't go much lower. I think they're doing some great work in their football association. They're talking about DNA of English football. They're talking about playing the same system throughout the whole teams, from the under 17 until the full squad. And I think they have some great youngsters who grew up in the best league in the world, who can play energetic football, Dortmund kind of football, with high pressing and great technique.
And direct football also.
And direct football.
But I just want to say just one thing. When we talk about former world champions, I think there should be some kind of a statute of limitations about these things. And maybe I don't think we should regard England as a former world champion.
They are by definition, but I understand what you're saying.
Just as a good team with good prospects, and they had only 1 point in this World Cup, which is, as you said, the lowest point, I think, ever for this team.
Now, from those who are home, we move to those who are still here. All the top goal scorers in the tournament are still here, meaning they could add a few more goals to their names. We could have expected the names of all the players with 4 goals, but Messi, Neymar, and Müller are all behind. James Rodriguez, the Colombian striker, scored 5 goals, finding the net in each of Colombia's games. He's surely one of the reasons Colombia has made it so far. If he keeps up the pace, don't be surprised if we see them even further on. Nitzan, I could expect Neymar, Messi, even Müller here. James Rodriguez, I'll say I did not know much about him, because Falcao had all the focus in Colombia.
When Falcao was ruled out of the World Cup, a lot of people said it's okay. Colombia has good firepower up front, and everyone was talking especially about Jackson Martinez. And then James came and played so good. But I think this is what's so weird about it, that he has the most goals from these 4 players. But his team is less dependent on him when
he scored 5, but the other Colombians scored 6.
The other Colombians scored 6, and it was from team play. It's not like Messi and Neymar.
I think he fits really, really nicely inside a team that is growing in confidence and doing well together. It's interesting to see that none of these players are real strikers. You don't have a number 9 there who you can say, that's a striker. I mean, Messi is more of a playmaker, shadow striker. Neymar is not a true striker. Müller is, is moving around, roaming around, looking for
fake
space.
striker.
Yeah, fake. Yeah, you have a false,
not
false
not
nine.
the old strikers we used
Yeah.
to see, like the number 9 who comes in and heads the goal because
Exactly.
that's all he does.
You don't have that anymore. And
They
I think-
play a different role. They play a more tactical role in maybe getting the defense to concentrate on them and moving backwards and getting the players from the outside to go.
And now, this is James Rodriguez, but if we speak about Neymar and Messi, especially Messi, Argentina is completely dependent on him. They scored 7 goals, he scored 4, set up 2, he also set the own goal. If Messi's no good, Argentina will not go anywhere. Deportivo Messi, Maradona said that, not me.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay to be dependent on Messi. He's the best player in the world. I mean,
It's like saying Miami Heat is too dependable on LeBron James.
I mean, it's okay to be that. I mean, what they need to focus on is playing well.
Which they have not been doing so far.
Yeah, but I mean, it's okay. It's okay, you know, to give Messi the ball and let him do something. He's not running a lot. He's not part of the flow of the team. He's getting the ball. He's getting passes and he's doing what he needs to do. He gets a lot of balls inside the box, so he's doing really well in being Messi. I think the other players might need to step it up, but it's okay to be dependent on Messi.
Is it the same story for Brazil with Neymar?
I think it's even worse with Brazil and Neymar, and because Neymar is much less proven in this kind of situations. And I know Messi hasn't won a World Cup, but Messi is worth a goal and a half per game by setting up or scoring himself. And I think Neymar is still too young. There's more pressure on him, and I think it's even worse because when you look at Brazil goals, they all come from just the things that Neymar do. And I think it's even worse than comparing to Argentina.
And now, if you think this is one of the best World Cups in history, you're not alone. A new study shows we may be on the way to describing it as the best tournament yet. Not only the goals scored, but also the unending dramas and the superb goalkeeping take center stage. All that and more in Merav Savir's press review.
We've heard everyone say it, from fans at the bars to experts in studios. This is the best World Cup in memory. Well, according to The Telegraph, FIFA's technical study group is compiling a report about the World Cup being hailed as one of the greatest ever, and it will be presented to all national associations. We still have 8 games left, and we're already threatening the World Cup record of 171 goals, with over 150 goals so far. The TSG's early findings show that a combination of coaches' tactics, the generation of attacking talent, and the way teams prepared are a big part of what makes Brazil 2014 so unforgettable. And one of the things making it so great are the dramatic endings. We've seen several games the round of 16 go to penalty shootouts, and Sports Illustrated takes a look at how the winner of those games are determined by clear factors, saying if you're the first to kick penalties, you have a higher chance of winning. And apparently, a lot of it has to do with body language and how players celebrate after scoring. But one of the most unforgettable performances of the tournament so far is American goalkeeper Tim Howard's performance against Belgium just a few days ago. It is known that he suffers from Tourette's syndrome, and BBC takes a look at whether Tourette's can affect his play, making him better. Howard himself has already said it makes him a better athlete, saying he's faster with specific movements. And BBC say he may be right. Studies show people with Tourette's are, quote, super good at controlling their voluntary movements. But now we're down to the last 8, and Bleacher Report tells us what we should look forward to. They took a look at all the individual games, including the All-Europe, Germany versus France, and All-South America, Brazil versus Colombia. And they say we should expect the next round to be like the round of 16. Teams playing cautiously, organized, with the goalkeepers taking center stage. If we're in for games as dramatic as the ones we saw over the last few days, we're definitely in for a treat.
Now to some of the players who did not come to Brazil at all. The coaches just simply did not want them. France is doing very well without Ribéry. Riel, yes, they said he was injured, but it's a political injury. And France so far doing good without their leading player.
Well, I think France is really about the team, and Ribéry was too individual. We know he had some problems with some of the players, Valbuena, for instance, and Deschamps really wanted a good team spirit, good players.
Same story with Samir Nasri, perhaps.
Exactly.
No distractions.
Yeah, no distractions.
Because that bothered them in 2010 and 2002 back then.
That's the biggest issue of France.
So he threw up the bad apples as he sees it, and it works fine.
Now, we said that Brazil is missing some flair up front, that it's only Neymar. Scolari said a few months ago, I don't want Ronaldinho, I don't want Kaká. Is it hurting the Brazilian team?
For now, you can say that it is, because they lack this flair. They lack this player that can comes in and with one action, one dribble can change the entire game. But eventually, it's a game of results. And Brazil is in the quarterfinals, and if they will win the World Cup, so it was a good decision.
And Neymar himself said, we're not here to put on a show, we're here to win the tournament.
Exactly, and I don't think the pace of this World Cup allows players such as Kaká and Ronaldinho to explore.
Uriel Daskar, Nitzan Peled, we can
more.
speak for hours, but our time is up. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And that's it for us today. We'll be here again tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a beautiful day.